Hello my viewers and welcome back to my channel. A shocking plea has been making the rounds online. Palestinians begging black people not to abandon them. But what's really going on here? It seems that Palestinians have been posting videos on TikTok claiming that black people harbor animosity towards them. However, the reality is more complex. As one sister pointed out, many people from various backgrounds have been expressing their disappointment with the community's behavior during the recent election. It's not just about black people, it's about the Palestinian community's actions having consequences. Now, the situation is reminiscent of the struggles faced by other marginalized groups. For instance, the United Nations has been working to address the plight of Palestinian refugees who have been displaced for decades. The international community has a responsibility to support those efforts and promote a just and lasting peace. But let's get back to the issue at hand here. Why are Palestinians suddenly reaching out to black people, and what does this say about their relationships with other communities? With that said, let's take a look at these videos. I will be right back, and when I do, we talk more about this.
The way y'all will come on here and try to further guilt trip people is disgusting. Let's watch a video real quick.
We have people in Gaza messaging me like, hey Chris, why do black people hate us so much? Like, what do you think? What are you doing?
I think it's interesting that it's being framed that black people hate Palestinians, black people, as if we are the only ones that are coming out to speak out about how y'all showed y'all privileged behinds during this election. When that person asked Chris why black people, as if it's only black people speaking out, because I've had conversations with people that are from the LGBTQ community that are not black. I've spoken with white people, disabled people, people that have pre-existing conditions that are not black, that did not like how y'all were behaving during this election and said that they're going to back off because of y'all. So I hope when Christopher spoke to whoever it was that he was speaking to in Gaza, he let them know that it's because they came on here and decided that they were going to play checkers, can't even say chess, decided that they were going to play games with the lives of people here and foreign, domestically and foreign. Did you let them know that you played a role in harassing people online because of your righteousness, because of your moral superiority? It's disgusting. And then to come on here and say black people? Is it only black people? Let's be for real. And this is why I don't. Y'all think us saying we're not going to work with you sitting comfortably on your phone means that we don't care about what's happening in Gaza. I still have a link on both of my profiles to Doctors Without Borders. I still donate, but I'm not going to work with y'all. That's not going to happen. I'd rather work by myself than alongside a bunch of snakes. So let that be said. Whatever it is what it is. But I won't be working with y'all.
I voted for Kamala Harris. In fact, I voted for nearly a full Democratic ticket. Blue for the Senate, blue for state representatives, blue for district attorney, blue for university regent, and so on. And despite that, the amount of Islamophobia and anti-Arab sentiment that I have personally received regarding the results of the election is staggering, saying that my country should be burned, that they want to watch Gaza bulldoze into a beach, that I should be deported or banned from the country as a Muslim. As if I wanted this, as if I voted for this, simply on virtue of being an Arab woman. And knowing what I know now, I still would not change how I voted, not even a little bit. Because my hurt feelings doesn't change what's right. And my activism does not stop at people who look like me. Like Auntie Kamala said, do not stop trying to make the world a better place. Now, I understand people are scared and angry regarding the election results and are looking for someone to blame. Believe me, I am too. But my community is not responsible. My community that makes up 1% of the voter base is not responsible. Start by blaming the people in your own lives who are responsible, rather than using bigotry as an outlet for your anger. Blame the men in your lives whose vote you had to cancel out. Blame the boyfriends and husbands that you refused to sever ties with even after they voted to revoke your rights. Blame your fathers who chose economic opportunity over your right to your own body. Blame your WASP mothers who have spent their entire lives upholding the misogyny that keeps you both down. Blame your own religious leaders whose endorsements of Trump you ignored because it's an uncomfortable conversation. Blame your favorite creators and streamers who made red pill content mainstream. Blame the billionaires who conducted illegal raffles to impact voter turnout. Hell, even blame your district ballot coordinator who neglected to mail out thousands of mail-in ballots. There are so many legitimate places you can place blame rather than making Muslims the scapegoat.
Some of y'all have switched up so quick. Have fun trying to survive under a man who wants you extinct. I hope he destroys your country. I hope he turns Gaza into a parking lot. Go back to whatever country you came from. He should ban you too. Get us out of this country. Wallahi, I didn't even vote for him. What is this about? Like, damn, when did you guys start hating Muslims so much? Don't answer that. I know the answer. Always have.
Oh my god, you guys, people are going back to Starbucks and McDonald's. They're not supporting Palestine anymore. I'm tired of hearing about it. I don't want to hear about how a bunch of trolls, bots, and grifters are ending their solidarity with Palestine and going back to Starbucks and McDonald's, because we already knew that there are people whose empathy is conditional. We already knew that people get paid real money to stir up trouble in social movements. A lot of infighting is manufactured, and there are records of this in other movements. Like, have you ever tried to actually have a conversation with someone who no longer supports Palestine anymore? It either ends in a block or no response, because it's just a game to them. They're either being paid, they're either a bot, or they just want more views at the end of the day. I don't know, I just feel like the more we talk about it, the more it actually becomes a thing. So just keep your head up, guys, and focus on actual productive conversations and action.
All right, first up, let me just say, in terms of the number of pro-Palestinians or Muslims that voted in this election, right? Voted and stuff. The overall number wasn't enough to sway the thing, to stop what's going on. If you voted in the affirmative or against, it wasn't enough. All right? That said, it's the principle and the flagrant kind of short-sighted vindictiveness, right, that has us pissed off. We're not saying that you caused Kamala Harris to lose in Wisconsin and Michigan. I mean, it may have been instrumental in terms of certain places like Dearborn and stuff. But, okay, be that as it may, we can have a debate about the numbers, pure numbers. The problem is the principle. I get that folks were livid at Biden because it happened on his watch, allowing October 7th, they say. I mean, for allowing it to continue as it is. I get it. And I get the need to want to punish him. I do get it. And unfortunately, most folks in this country, and I'm going to be frank with you guys, most of us in this country are political. We are neophytes. We don't understand how anything works. We don't understand how bills work. We don't understand anything about policy. We're reactionary, we're emotional. It's about how we feel about this person and how that. So we're neophytes. And those of you on here that took that anger over Palestine as the sole reason for your voting, sole reason to inform your vote, especially those of you who are white. Those of you who are white, let me deal with you for a minute. You guys, again, are a problem. That is an amazing, flagrant flaunting of your privilege in folks' face. You, personally, as a white person, have nothing to fear if Trump gets in or Kamala gets in. You will be fine. Because as we can see yet again, this country is incurably whitey supremacist. This country voted overwhelmingly to affirm whiteness. And if any of you who are on this app, who are talking all of this mess, who sound so learned about Palestine, talking about things about democracy in Israel and all of that stuff, y'all would have seen, if you looked at Trump, that that's what he's about. Those of you who are so learned about Palestine, it should not be so much of a stretch to understand what would happen domestically to everyone in this country, especially even Palestinians in this country, and by extrapolation, what policy would be towards Palestinians over there. You guys should have known that. And what's worse? Trump, it's like this Abondon Harris. Abondon Harris. He's in the video, Abondon Harris. This is the only choice we have now. Abondon Harris. All stoic and stuff. The Green Party having no fire at all for Trump. Even though Trump said he planned to rub out the even though Trump said he planned to rub out the remainder of Palestinian civilization and hope in Israel, he planned to allow Bibi to do that. And you had nothing to say about him. Kamala Harris and Biden, yes, it happened on their watch. They gotta get some blowback for that. But for you don't give up. You guys have lost the war. You guys had some battle to punish Biden. Yes, you win that battle now, right? You punish Biden, and by extension you punish Harris because she was vice president. Even though y'all don't seem to know what a vice president does. You won that battle. Let's punish Harris. Punish the Biden administration. You gotta punish him. You gotta get him. You can't let that go. You gotta punish him. Yay! Bravo! You punish Biden and you punish Harris. Even though, another thing, it came out that Trump was talking to Bibi in the background, telling Bibi, don't worry, I got you. Don't agree to any peace agreements. Don't agree to anything, but when I come in, I'm going to let you do what you want to do. It was reported on over and over again. He said this shit from his mouth. And yet you guys couldn't see that, yes, you may want to punish Biden-Harris, but in doing so, you're going to lose the war. Let me tell you something. Any sort of progress that you made within this year would not have happened without black people's support. Any progress you had with the ICJ, with people cutting diplomatic ties, it would not happen without us. Yeah, my people, I'm taking credit as being indispensable to any progress any of you pro-Palestinian activists had towards this cause. I'm being frank, there are two particular content creators on here who I follow and I like. They've been on the right side of the issues, and I disagree with them how they voted or their stance on this election with this. But guess what? Both of them are black. The most strident pro-Palestinian activists that I've seen on campus, who have been interviews, who have been demonstrating for your cause, have been black. A lot of black Congress people and black politicians have sacrificed their careers for that shit. Jamal Bowman and Cori Bush. Ilhan Omar's another one that almost got tossed. So, it is a trail to see you guys basically, we're so focused on punishing Biden, the small little battle for punishing Biden, you lose the war. And the war is, you're gonna get the Palestinians rubbed out, and you contribute in principle, and this is the principle about I'm talking about. In principle, you contributed in principle to the of your most ardent supporters, black people's lives here domestically. You guys did that shit. That's why we're furious at you. And we're not furious at the Palestinians over there. We're not furious at them over there. Let me say it again. We're not furious at Palestinians over there. We're furious at those of you here who got up on stage and endorsed the man who promised to, in order to punish Biden-Harris. The makes sense. And with that endorsement, you gave him all he needed to win places like Wisconsin and Michigan. And you still lose. But you blow up our domestic, not the national climate for your most ardent supporters as well. It's a betrayal in principle. So
now, just a few days ago, I shared a powerful video featuring my fellow black brothers and sisters expressing their thoughts on the recent election. One shocking revelation was that a significant number of Arabs and Muslims voted for Donald Trump, and this news sparked outrage among many black people who felt betrayed by this election. Now, some black individuals pointed out that since the war began, they have consistently shown support for Palestinians, and now it's time for reciprocity. They argued that Palestinians should have voted for Kamala Harris as a gesture of solidarity. Instead, many Palestinians chose to support Trump, leaving black people feeling abandoned and frustrated. Now, the sense of betrayal is palpable, with some black people declaring that they should mind their business. Now, some have even joked about going back to McDonald's and Starbucks, implying that if Palestinians can be bothered to support black people, then why should black people support Palestinians? This situation highlights the complexities of intersectional solidarity and the expectations that come with it. While it's understandable that different communities may have different priorities and interests, it's also important to recognize the value of reciprocity and mutual support. But during this election, in a historic shift, Muslim and Arab Americans broke with 2 decades of democratic loyalty, splitting most of their votes between President-elect Donald Trump and third-party candidates in Tuesday's presidential election, according to preliminary findings of 2 prominent advocacy groups. Now, the exodus fueled by anger over the Biden administration's handling of the war in Gaza helped Trump win key battleground states, especially Michigan, as he defeated Vice President Kamala Harris to win a second term in the White House. A nationwide exit poll of more than 1,300 voters by the Council on American Islamic Relations found that significantly less than 50% of Muslim voters backed Harris. That compares with an esteemed 65% to 70% that reportedly voted for President Joe Biden in 2020. Now, the lion's share of the Muslim vote went to Jill Stein, the Green Party candidate who advocated for ending U.S. military support for Israel, or Trump, who received the backing of several Arab and Muslim community leaders and elected officials in Michigan. But the voter revolt among Arab and Muslim Americans in Michigan was unmistakable, especially in the areas of Dearborn Heights. Now, in Dearborn, where more than 55% of the residents are of Middle Eastern descent, Trump won more than 42% of the vote, up from 30% 4 years ago. Harris received just 36% from a community that gave Biden nearly 70% of its vote. Now, just like fellow black brothers and sisters are saying, the recent actions of some minority groups, particularly Palestinians, have left many black people feeling betrayed and frustrated. It's understandable that these groups wanted to punish Biden or Harris for their administration's policies, but the principle of their actions is what's problematic. By voting for Trump, they essentially chose to support policies that would harm black people, despite the long history of solidarity between these communities. Now, this sense of betrayal is rooted in the fact that black people have consistently shown up to support other marginalized groups, only to be abandoned when it counts. It's a painful reminder that the struggles of black people are often an afterthought for others. As Shelby Steele notes, the early civil rights movement saw the mark of race as anathema to freedom, to the individual, and to the pursuit of happiness. Now, the issue at hand is not just about political affiliations or voting patterns. It's about the principles of solidarity and mutual support. When minority groups choose to support policies that harm Black people, it's a betrayal of the trust and solidarity that has been built over the years. It's time for these groups to recognize the harm they've caused and to take responsibility for their actions. Agency taking complete responsibility for one's life and advancement. It's essential for true freedom and empowerment. It's time for these groups to exercise agency and stand in solidarity with Black people rather than betraying them for political gain. Now, in as much as Black people have shared their thoughts or their reasons to why they're angry, there are still some who are defending their actions or why they voted for Donald Trump. According to this article, it reads, as the dust slowly settles on this election and Kamala Harris stands before the wreckage of a campaign that failed to win over a single swing state, the Democratic Party and its liberal supporters are eagerly looking for anyone other than themselves to blame for their catastrophic defeat. And it seems they've already found convenient scapegoats. Arab Americans, Muslims, and anyone else who refused to cast their vote for the administration that eagerly enabled the genocide of Palestinians. Throughout the night of November 5, as electoral votes from key states like North Carolina, Indiana, and Ohio rolled in for Trump, social platforms became overrun with angry Democrats blaming the result on Arab and Muslim Americans who did not vote for Harris and wishing more unaliving and destruction on our brethren in the Middle East as punishment for this perceived betrayal. Their argument appears to be that by rejecting Harris, we gifted Trump the presidency and sacrificed the future of American democracy at the altar of foreign policy. They seem to believe not only that we are powerful enough to decide the fate of democracy in this country, but also that simply due to our minority status, we owe our vote to the Democratic Party. Sure, it is true that in contemporary U.S. elections, minorities consistently showed support for Democratic candidates at much higher rates than palm color voters. In 2016, Trump's victory against then Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton was secured primarily by palm color voters, with 57% of palm color men and 47% of palm color women voting for him. 88% of Black voters and 65% of Asian voters supported Democrats in that election. Similarly, 3/4 of Muslim voters and some 60% of Arab Americans said they cast a ballot for Clinton that year. The pattern persisted in 2020, with minorities, including Muslims and Arabs, showing up in large numbers to support the Biden-Harris ticket. But this historic support, which undoubtedly bolstered Democratic victories in the past and helped Clinton hold the popular vote in 2016, does not mean that we owe anything to the party or that we can be held responsible for its magnificent defeat against Trump in this election. They go on to further say that politicians, no matter their party affiliation, are not entitled to the votes of any given demographic. It is their duty, indeed their prerogative, to earn our votes. In this election cycle, however, the Democratic establishment worked tirelessly to ensure we would not vote for them. So this defeat is on them and on them alone. Just look at how the Democrats campaigned in the state I live in, Michigan, a crucial swing state where elections can hinge on mere thousands of votes. Michigan is home to some 200,000 Muslim Americans. Over the past year, these voters made it clear in every way they could that their vote was conditioned on the party pledging to end its financial, political, and military support of unalivings of Palestinians, Lebanese, and Yemenis. The uncommitted campaign looking to end the Democratic Party's support for Israel's genocide secured more than 100,000 votes in the state's Democratic primary. Now, this is their defense, but what do my viewers have to say about this video? Share your thoughts, your views in the comment section. Thank you for always watching, and see you in my next video as I bring you another interesting video.